Welcome to DevKami number 208. If you
Welcome.
realize that I'm shouting because I have problem with this mic. Okay, I don't know what happened, to be honest. Does it work? I don't know, to be
Yep,
honest.
we can hear
Okay,
you.
let me switch to other thing. I have this cool story, but after that, I have two cool story. More on that later. Uh, no, don't share tab, for goodness sake. Don't share tab. So let's start with West Chilean. Chilean is busy. Is because his project tend to coincide with around this season. Yeah, it's a work thing. Can't help it. It just happens. Okay. So he will not be around with us for a while. Like I assure you, he is alive. Okay, he is alive. So let's start with meetup. Again, not all meetups are actually put online. For example, this week actually we had a JavaScript meetup that already happened. Then we have C++ meetup, which we, in my opinion, kind of have missed opportunity uh,
Mm,
because they could have called it Clang Rally, as in C-Lang
mm.
Rally. So, but that
But that's
happens.
that's not LLVM, right? That's like
Well,
the
it could.
new
Yeah, that's the
specific.
thing. You are right as well. So, yeah.
Maybe that's why
So
they don't want the GNU specific tool name.
correct. And also a very interesting group too, because these guys that actually do radiography and all that. If if you're not into C++, at least go there to learn another thing, especially if you can. This is happening next week, Thursday, 7 days from now, which coincide with DevKami night. We figure out from there if I happen to go. So this is our meetup next week. So either meet up next week, and no, we have the next one is all the way in April. So yep. Then second thing is let's go to our episode. Second thing is I have cool story happening. So first cool story. Uh, I actually have this problem. Actually, I try to instill this good practice, which may not be a good or bad thing. So the good thing is good thing in a way that we should try as much as possible to mock your data and your object.
Well, I wouldn't call it mock the data. The principle is to isolate your data. Sorry,
Yeah, correct.
isolate your
Isolate your
test. So that this
behavior.
testing thing, yeah,
Yeah,
isolate the behavior, which naturally brings about a mock because if you don't care
correct,
about the mock, it means that
correct,
it's not what you're testing.
correct. In this case, you do not care about. Okay, more like so more like you care about the object. You don't actually care
Mm,
about the data that lead to the object.
mm,
In fact, letting database to dictate your object is a bad idea. So you want to constrain your behavior as much as possible, right? So in this case, I actually did precisely that. Previously, it is using what the name called fixture. Uh,
mm-hmm.
it's not too bad, but it's actually better to not rely on fixture for the reason
Well,
that
yeah, fixtures are
yes,
great for end-to-end or integration tests because
correct,
it's like everything, right? But if you're talking
correct,
about unit tests, then
yeah,
that's a different thing. Usually, you don't want to use fixtures because it has too
correct,
much things there, and it does
yes,
not give you an insight as to how large or the dependency net of the thing that you're testing. Like if you
correct,
need a whole, like if you're testing an e-commerce application, you need to actually include the user account
yes,
on the purchase flow. I think
correct,
that particular behavior is doing too much or reaching too much out into other dependencies. So it does
correct,
give you that kind of insight.
correct. So in this case, I only do unit tests. I only care about one thing, a function that generate secure URL, and that's it. Okay, that's the only thing I
Hmm.
care about. They have some setting inside. They store on database for reason that legacy reason. I don't want to touch that now. I don't want to change that now. Not my job. Actually, more like I can change it. It also cause a lot of consequences. As a result, I do not want to touch it. Okay, I do not want to touch it. And also, I want to, of course, mock out the AWS API call. We don't care about them. They should work. So as a result, I use a lot. I use aspect mode actually to test the function. Uh, so that we can just override the value and whatever we need, and we only fix to our setting that we care about and test it, which I think is actually very cool. It's just that for some reason I don't see a lot of this practice in my circle, or maybe testing is not a sexy topic, but that's what happened.
Mm.
Then second cool story. I'm going to turn off the presentation. Do you know this book?
No, I haven't read it.
Okay, so cool story about this. I was at Sutaya, the Bukit Pavilion Bukit Jalil bookshop. People say it
Mm.
sucks, but as it turns out, they got a very cool O'Reilly collection and this collection. So this person, Brandon Gregg, is a senior performance architect in Netflix. He is the one that actually set up performance metrics and all that. He's the one that comes up with flame chart. Okay,
Mm.
and also this book will cover things like how do you measure performance, what tools, what you should care about at what level. So this is actually a very pragmatic book, and more importantly, the first version actually got an award from Usenix. Usenix is a conference for Unix. The place is called, okay. So SHH is called Sutaya at Pavilion Bukit Jalil. It's all the way at Bukit Jalil area. So yeah, it's actually a bookshop. Some people say it's overrated, but I found some good book there. So I found this book. I think I do not know whether this is the last one. So this book is very cool. There's actually the same
Mhm.
author actually wrote the second book. It's called BPF. Okay, it's about BPF. I don't remember the name. So yeah. So this is what happened. Yeah, very cool stuff happening. So how about you? What's happening?
Nothing much. Well, I assembled a different mechanical keyboard. So this one
Yep.
I'm using it right now. It's a wireless.
Again. Yep.
Because it's a lot nicer now. So I still have it the other one. I want the
Uh-huh.
this one is battery operated now, and it's
Right.
wireless.
Right.
It's actually small. So as you can see, this is a 65%.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And you're reusing the keycaps. The other keychron is doing this. So this is actually quite cheap. This is I
Mm-hmm.
think 70 ringgit, 80 ringgit.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the CIY 68 tester 68 or whatever.
Yep.
So 68 keys, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, but you only get the PCB, the housing. You don't get the
Yep.
switches and the keycaps. That's why this keycap is
Ah.
from the
You have
keychron.
to
So if
you have to you have to solder it.
No, these are hot swap. So this is
Okay.
actually something I would recommend for. So the keychron I would recommend if
Yep.
you just need a keyboard that
Yep.
works and it's already good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like it already sounds nice. Stabilizers are okay. Um, so they don't rattle as much. But if you want to mod it, then you have the opportunity. If
Right.
you want to start assembling your own, like you want to like your
Yep.
because you want to start doing like a better sounding keyboards, for example, this is
Yep.
actually a good starting point,
Mm-hmm.
because then you start knowing the technique how to insert switches properly. So I had to straighten out bent pins a lot, because
Yep.
my insertion technique wasn't good until I found out, okay, this is how you insert switches better. um,
Yep.
like what switches do you want? So for example, I actually like the yellows better than the reds. So
Yep.
you start getting to experiment, like the actual feel and the actual
Yes.
it's like getting you basically you start owning the keyboard, right? Like
Right.
before you just buy whatever keyboard that it is, but now you get to decide. Like for example, this one, I don't know if it you can hear. This one is a very clicky,
Yep.
what we call this sound, because I
Mm-hmm.
changed it specifically to a blue so that I know if I accidentally pressed caps lock, let's say, right?
Okay. Oh.
Everything else
Okay.
is like everything else is
Okay.
the same,
Right.
because it's near the A, and sometimes I fat finger the A on my pinky, and then,
Yep.
oh, if I hear that sound, I know. I don't even need to uh like like what they call
Mm-hmm.
this, like see what I was typing. I might be looking somewhere else, copying something or looking at code, and I accidentally typed in caps lock. I know I can auditorily like in an auditory sense that I
Yep.
pressed the wrong key, right?
Right.
So those things. Um, and it's I think it's a good project to have as well. I mean, there's no
Mm-hmm.
soldering involved. If you, I'm not those keyboard people that like the soldering because I want to
Yeah.
experiment, right? So it's good
Yeah.
for beginning DIY. Although this
Yep.
one, so you can hear. I don't know if you can hear it, but
Yep.
the backspace rattles a bit. This one also rattles a bit. So the
Right.
stabilizers aren't lubed. So that's like a second level of like. Right now, it's still passable. It's not wonky in any source. It's just you can hear like
Mm-hmm.
once you so compared to the Keychron, this the stabilizers here. So the stabilizers are for like for the keys that are wide, right? So because they have the so they don't like become
Mm-hmm. Yep.
lopsided. So
Correct.
compared to that, this one has worse stock stabilizers, but you can always
Right.
improve it. So you put like either lube or you want to basically want to reduce the rattle, and there are ways to do
Right.
like that. And that's like a second level of like modding, like okay, making it sound really the way you want. But for
Correct.
now, even without those mods, this the way I assemble the keyboard, I think is good enough. I type faster than
Yep.
the Apple keyboard I've been using for the longest time. I
Mm-hmm.
started getting the mechanical keyboards because the Apple keyboard was the same price as the Keychron. It's about like 500
Right.
ringgit, right? This is
Right.
like 70 ringgit.
Right.
So, but of course you have to buy your own switches, so that
Yes.
adds in. But then the switches are like you can. So for example, I assembled. I don't know if you remember Stanley's thumb
Yeah.
pad. So there's the
Correct. Correct. Correct.
thumb pad. So this is using this a different kind of switch as well. So like I'm
Yep.
sorry, this can use the same switches as the mechanical keyboards. So they are
Hmm.
transferable. So you can use any kind of the other switches. And so
Correct.
that's why uh, I say if I'm going to buy a keyboard anyway, because some of the keys of that Apple uh, I can't even repair, right? The Apple
Yep.
keyboard. Some of the keys were not working anymore. Then I might
Yep.
as well get a mechanical keyboard that I can repair myself.
Yeah.
And so at least I
Mm-hmm.
know how that is. And yeah, Keychron is just like like I said, an introduction for me. Like okay, I just need something that's working, that's not so expensive. That was like 300 plus ringgit, and that
Yep.
was great. As of so, what I really like about this, for example, is um, yes. So this is the Keychron with new
Yeah.
keycaps, right? The
Mm-hmm.
cherry profile I really like because I can actually type faster with the cherry profile. Is this
Right.
one the volume knob? So I use that.
Ah.
I really like using it because like I can adjust it during calls, or I don't have
Uh-huh.
to like do the function something something. So
Correct.
these are like great what they call this great additions that
Uh-huh.
I don't think I will ever be able to get on something like an Apple keyboard. So if
Yep.
it's similar, yeah, it's not open hardware, although the Keychron does do open source. But then again, a
Yep.
keyboard, you don't really need open hardware for this.
Well,
You
keyboard is
can design your
standard
own
in a
keyboard.
way.
Yeah.
Keyboard is
Well,
really standard.
the matrix type, the matrix kind of switching
Yeah.
is standard because so if you didn't know about the keyboards, you can't really just assign a key to a GPIO. You run out of
No,
GPIOs,
no,
right?
no,
Too
no, no,
many
no. You,
keys.
yeah.
That's why you do a matrix kind of switch where
Correct.
like it's when a column and you wire it in such a way the column and the row need to be you can determine the column and the row based on the like the switching diodes and all of these things, right? And that's well known. And
Yeah.
so there's really no patents on keyboards. It's expensive because of the design really, or
Yeah.
the dampening is really for the sound, which is why you can get like really cheap keyboards for like 20 ringgit.
Correct.
And switches are a bit more expensive for the quality ones, like if you
Correct.
want the linear actuation and all of these things. So keyboard shouldn't really be that expensive. Um,
Yes.
and that's why I thought if I'm going to get a new keyboard anyway, I might as well get something that I can repair myself, or like
Yep.
at least I can like figure out what is wrong, so that
Yep.
I like that keyboard just the Apple keyboard just failed for no reason. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't eat here, so I don't know. probably some
Yeah,
dust or something, or maybe an ant can came in, but I can't even open it without destroying it, right?
correct.
Yeah, that's the problem there.
You just want to
Yeah,
do
so
things.
that's the thing. That's what I like about
Mm-hmm.
this keyboard, especially because this is wireless, and this is a
Mm-hmm.
wireless with a dongle and triple A batteries, so it's
Yep.
not rechargeable. And I like the AAA batteries because you can always like replace it anywhere. So now I can
Yep.
carry this in. I can fly without
Mm-hmm.
this in my carry on. Like I can
Yep.
put this on my baggage because it doesn't have
Yep.
any batteries if I don't put one, right? And so
Correct.
that's I found that really convenient because I don't
Nice.
I can have a nice keyboard while traveling, let's say on a
Yep.
conference or somewhere
M-
else.
Makes sense. Okay, lah. With that said, let's go to the news because we have things happening. Not that much things, to be honest. Well, it's not slow news day, but it's not fast news day either. So let's start with random stuff. That's the first one. So Google had multiple vulnerabilities recently. So let's go with that. First one is turns out Volt LTE and Wi-Fi calling because Exynos modem vulnerabilities on Pixel 6 and more. So I think Pixel 6 and 7 are protected if you update it. For Malaysia, for Malaysia's grade import, those things are not enabled for the first place. This is actually from Project Zero, and they actually announced it because Samsung did not actually do any fixes after a certain time. So it affect quite a number of phones. For example, it affect S22 and all that. So my old phone will
Mm.
be impacted, but my old phone still have security update. So that hopefully is helpful. Then Vivo phone, Google Pixel, and anything vehicles that use Exynos Auto T523 website. So mere corruption when process SDB attribute accept type. So meaning using a phone number alone is possible for you to corrupt the operating system from what I understand. So anything want to add or do you not understand
No,
this?
no, I don't have those kinds of
Yeah,
phones.
correct, correct. So
I don't buy expensive phones.
right.
I think my Poco was like since 2019, I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't changed for 4 years now. So
Okay.
I
Uh
mean, if you get a nice phone that
yep,
like it doesn't have to be like the flagship, it will last you for a long time. There's really no,
correct.
I don't know. I feel there's not a lot of reason to change unless it breaks.
Yep.
And um, the reason why I got the Poco X3 is because it's actually supported by the Lineage OS team.
Ah,
So
correct,
once Xiaomi or Poco decides, okay, we're not supporting your operating system anymore, we're not giving you updates, then I can go
yep,
to Lineage. So that became part of my decision making, like whether it
correct,
is supported by Lineage OS or not, like officially.
correct. So and also Android user had a very different kind of
Mm,
uh, thinking in a way because uh, for iPhone user they can expect phone to last for a long time enough last long enough but for Android this doesn't happen until very recently. For example, my latest phone are the one that will have 5 years OS
mm,
support. So as in new software update support. So I will get like really good long software update and not just security. Then security a bit longer. So it's only
mm.
very recent. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, but I feel though that when Fairphone does come out,
Yep,
sorry, not the Fairphone, the Nokia G62, I forgot the
yep,
model name. The repairable Nokia, I think I will upgrade to that one.
yep,
Because I don't know if you remember, I got a Pixel 3,
yep.
and the battery like bulged, and then so now the cover is out.
Correct.
I and I found it like, I mean, I can buy a new battery. It's just reassembling it is horrible because you have to like
Hmm.
paste. So it's glued basically, and so you need to find the glue and all of these things. And so if
Correct.
batteries are very very common as a failure point for these kinds of electronics, and the Poco is going to be the same. It's going to
Yep.
be very difficult to repair, even though it lasts a long time in terms of software. Um, in terms of like battery, just I just need to replace the battery, and it's very difficult. But that Nokia is also waterproof, but
Yep.
it's easy to replace the battery, easy to replace components. And so,
Yep.
if I am going to be upgrading once that gets into Malaysia, I think I will be replacing or like using that alongside with this one until the Poco X3
Yeah.
dies.
Makes sense. Uh, I just recently realized that talk about extra old phone and all that. I just realized that I can use an extra phone. Luckily, I still keep my old phone because okay. I'm going to Korea soon. Reasons.
Bye,
Uh,
Swimming. We'll miss you.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're moving to Korea.
changing stuff, changing SIM card and all that will be a bit annoying. So I have an old phone. Maybe I can use that. What I do not know is whether the S23 actually have support eSIM. Maybe that I don't know actually. So if that doesn't work, I will bring my old phone along, which is actually still functional. I just need to make sure that it's updated, security update and all that, so that anything happen, I can call using that phone. Yeah. So, but I also factory reset my phone because my brother need a temporary phone, so I just give him my phone
Mhm.
temporarily. So I need to reset up. I need to do another factory reset again. But yeah, having a phone that lasts long is actually very useful as long as end of
SSH,
security and all
I
that.
don't know how they want to be called. I keep seeing SSH, but it's actually SHH. So
It's
this, I guess,
Sihong.
this is sorry. Yeah,
I
I,
think
I
his
don't
name.
know, like just like SSH or SSH, but I just get like a double,
Yeah.
like vision on there because they mentioned about replaceable batteries, and this
Yep.
actually goes into the replaceable batteries. So yes, it is like
Yeah.
the
Correct.
keyboard is replaceable batteries. It's
Hmm.
quite nice for a phone to also have replaceable batteries. So I miss
Correct.
those old times when like the Nokia's that actually you can easily replace the battery, right? And
Correct.
it lasts a long time. Yes,
Correct.
charger ports. I don't know about charger ports though. I've never spoiled a charger port before, so I have no idea what other people are doing that they spoil the charger port.
Yep.
Even when it was like it was still even the micro USB phones. I never really did it. Like
Yeah.
destroyed it.
It's
I don't know. Do you pull it from the socket like or like tug it like badly? I don't know. I've never had
I
it
don't
spoiled. So
know.
that's why I don't know.
Yeah. It
Screens,
used
yes,
to
of course, when you drop it. That's why you have a bumper. Mhm.
correct. It used to be things like incompatible USB-C port that may fry your circuit and all that.
Yeah.
That
No, but
I
yeah,
did.
but if you have like even the ideal usage and the ideal
Yep.
um, cords charging technique, whatever,
Hmm.
you are still going to encounter a battery sooner or later, a battery
Correct.
issue,
Correct.
like whether
Correct.
it's not going to charge and retain a charge as long as before, or
Hmm.
it's a lithium ion cell, so it is going to eventually fail, like it will bloat or something. And that's why batteries are almost definitely going to be needing replacement. And
Correct.
what's happening right now is if your phone needs a battery replaced, you just generally buy a new phone. That's the sad part there, mostly because it's just so difficult to replace
Correct.
batteries.
And there's a whole reason for that because batteries tend to have okay. It used to be they have a lot more corrosive material, so those things actually eats up your battery. Nowadays, a bit more dry, but still happen. So those things still react. Those are active chemicals. So
Mhm.
your battery will break first. Interestingly, I recently attempt to repair my switch. The battery still works, interestingly, but the screen is horrible. There's water in the screen
Mhm.
for reasons I don't understand. I just ordered replacement. The Switch, not the Switch, the Nintendo DSi. So
Mhm.
there's old damn thing. And also, the whole thing got yellow because of plastic aging. So yeah, but then that thing is older than most phones, so there's that, right? So okay,
Mhm.
so next one, next security vulnerability on Google. So Google actually have this acropocalypse, so it's so damn hard to pronounce. What happened is the markup vulnerability was recently patched. It will it will some of the images that you attempt to censor, as in you try to override it, can still be seen, and this actually shows that this so let's say you attempt to hide sensitive information this way, we're not able to uh, hide it, right? So I do not have the detail on how, but here they write it out. Then what happened? Download the image. Then using uh sub then yeah, they managed to find it, right? So the cropping tools does not work well enough. So it will it's fixed for the latest software and all that, but old images are still how I say it, old information old screenshot is still vulnerable to this. But that being said, there's a whole reason why you do not share a lot of this information out at all on socials whenever you need. So I mean, sometimes you still censor certain information, for example, some address and all that. So yeah, that would actually be bad, but try your best to not share your information because it's hard to trust anyone really. So yeah, lah. Anything to add? If not, I'm gonna move on.
No, no. Again, I don't
Okay.
have this kinds of phone. I mean, I have the
Yeah.
Pixel 3, but I don't use that to take screenshots and post on the social media.
Okay. I want to talk about the bigger one for now. Did I have that? Oh my goodness! For some reason, this is not there anymore. Open source. Da, da, da. Okay. This is more important. I will add this to the notes. I will add this to a note. Do you know Bob Metcalfe?
No, sorry.
He is the creator of Ethernet. Okay. He got this year's Turing Award.
Mm-hmm.
Turing Award is essentially the Nobel Prize in the computer world. So yeah, I cannot believe it. In 50s. So Ethernet developed in the 1970s in Palo Alto Research Center, I believe. Yeah, I see. Uh, so these things are for connecting network internally. So this is for you to connect between computers uh, in a way that I don't remember why again, but one of the thing is by the time we do that in the 1970s, ARPANET got very complicated. It got all sort of things to send message each other, and also the hardware is very different. ARPANET, or the internet as we know it, requires long distance communication, whereas this one is for within building. So your LAN, your other Ethernet, which is called the Ethernet port. Wi-Fi, as a result, is an extension of Ethernet technology. So yeah, it's local network, right? It's a way you
Mm-hmm.
build Ethernet, then from there you build your local network. So yeah, he deserved it because he literally created the technology. Then he do the standard, and also getting adopted everywhere. So you can't do modern computing without Ethernet really, and also without that we can't do LAN game. So that's that. So
I
yeah,
know,
he
but
deserved it.
we were doing LAN games from before using parallel ports. So it's
Yes,
not,
correct,
I mean, if you have enough parallel ports to daisy chain to
correct,
talk
correct.
to people as well.
But
But I mean, it's not a requirement. Serial ports if you have
yeah,
those, but
correct,
it's not a hard requirement. But it is very convenient because this one,
correct.
because you now have a hub and spoke design, right? Whereas yeah, with the serial
Mm-hmm,
ports, you have to connect to other computer directly, and if you have like four, it
mm-hmm,
becomes very complicated. Because otherwise, it should it the game needs to support like pass through basically to
correct,
pass
correct,
through signals to other players.
correct,
Whereas with yeah, of course, with Ethernet, you can just have a single router and then or a
correct.
switch, and then you're connected to that, and everything else connected to that. So
Yeah,
it's easier. What they call this logistically to set up.
correct. So yeah, this is actually very cool in a way that as I said, we start with cable, then whatever protocol. I discovered here It can use on any medium. So, but in this case, we almost talk about coaxial cables nowadays, and also Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi are of course built on top of Ethernet protocol. So
Mm-hmm.
then they're not LAN. This is Ethernet is actually one layer below, I believe. So yeah, well deserved. Congratulations. He's actually another person that inspired me to learn Unix. No, actually take computer science. And talking about the other person that inspired me to take computer science, Ken Thompson, and of course Brian Ritchie, the creation of Unix. Uh, so this is more like gossip. Okay, this is more like gossip. He used to be an Apple user, and now he opt to use Raspbian. Okay, so he invested in Apple, now trying to go into Raspbian because yeah, for reason that I don't quite understand, but doing something that should allow you to work. Yeah, so yeah lah. Nothing big here, just because you do that, and that's it. Really, that's it. Okay, so let's talk about Malaysian project. I'm going to because I worry that we don't have time. So
Mm-hmm.
remember that we talked about AWS setting up Malaysian team here.
Yeah.
Remember that we also talked about data center team and all that. One of the topic I talked about
Mm-hmm.
that what's the point and why anyway. So maybe setting up the data center, I do not know whether it will impact them, but uh, this one is very cool because this is actually because the setting up of the Malaysian team. One of the assumptions that we talked about last time is wrong. Okay, not fully correct, because this is actually supporting the sales and all that. But we do have an engineering team in Malaysia. Okay, and one of the thing they do, one of the thing this person do is, okay, I copy the repository directly. I'm going to open a tab uh, by actual Fabian Lee. Da, da, da. Okay, cool. So this is actually service screener. Uh, this allows AWS customer to automatically check the environment and service on AWS best practice and provide recommendation. So this is actually built by the Malaysian team. So okay, well-architected framework is actually a framework to actually tell AWS user whether you follow the best practices. All right, it's a set of best practices that you should adopt. These tools will actually make it easy for you to find out if if you follow the best practice, because AWS had a lot of tools that make it that allows you to get the metadata setting and all that. So by getting all this, you can actually find out if the setting complies. Previously, to do this is actually very painful in a way that you either do it from the beginning or you have to audit it painfully. So having these tools make life easy. And of course, it will cost less. That it will cost to run because it's AWS. Running infrastructure will cost some money. And the most important thing is this is actually done by the head of technology automation team. So we do have engineering team in Malaysia, even though the job for AWS, even though the job is to support the business, but it's still an engineering team. And yeah, so yeah, so this is actually one of those impact that we have when a company come to invest in us. Though one thing here is that it's to support their product, but it's useful, it's helpful. What I mean. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, anything to add?
No,
Nothing to add. I'm going to move on.
it's
So
it's
anyway,
just
thanks, Fabian. Go on.
it's just a shame that they had to use they didn't use it as proper scripts, like what they call this. Did they actually use bash scripts? Because I think they're using
No.
JavaScript
In fact, what
PHP.
happened is okay. So I'm going. No, it's actually a bit worse. It's PHP.
Well, no, they do uh, get calls or something, right? I don't know. So that's the thing. It's good that they licensed it in Apache because
Yep.
I think there might be a better way because you want to like eventually automate this, right? I don't know
Correct.
if this is designed. So I haven't taken a look at it, but is it designed to like you have to be there in front to start it, or can
Correct.
this be part of like some sort of let's
Ah,
say if you're using Circle CI, there's a way to do that like every 2 weeks,
yes.
let's say, and then it just
Correct.
runs and then gives you reports, or every week, for example, or you can set it up as a
I
contract on your computer.
yeah. I
That
do
would be
not
nice.
know. To be honest, I do not know. But that being said, AWS had a very weird way of doing stuff. For example, their tools. Okay, so when you work with AWS, the tools of choice are often not Bash. Interestingly, so for example, their orchestration tools are with TypeScript, written in TypeScript. So as a result, TypeScript is a first class language for you to build your own automation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then if you want to then let's say for their command line tools is built in, okay, recently it's built in Golang nowadays. It used to be done in Python, so it's as if anything but shell script really. And when you want to build your automation, they want you to build as a lambda, okay? And those lambda example tend to use JavaScript as a first class language to as an example, but they of
Mm-hmm.
course have other example in Python and all that. But JavaScript is the first language to do it, right? So
Yeah.
so AWS is weird. So when you build your tools, they expect things like, okay, you should build it on a Lambda instead of a shell script on a Linux machine. So for example, I have a very quick example. Actually, it's the public example. You build access rotation tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, of course, you can use a shell script because AWS CLI actually exposed that, so it can force the user to change the a token and all that. That can work, but their default example, and you can do it on the cron job, very easy, very standard. But their example is essentially write a lambda, trigger a lambda using event bridge, which is their own version, which provide various capability, including cron, chronic
Mm.
capabilities. Then so all their example is almost always within their own ecosystem.
Mm.
Okay, so which I find, yeah, as a business they only care about themselves and all that, but for some reason they just want you to use their system instead of using a standard tools. So which is very weird. Okay, it's very weird. It's only recently that things get a bit more. Okay, I wouldn't say they are more open, but there's certain thing that they have to be more open. For example, elastic container service ECS. So they have a they have an alternative on top of the same product service product line. It's called elastic Kubernetes service, so that you can use Kubernetes instead. And the reason is because other people also have Kubernetes that don't want those people to work that, right? So they can use
Mm-hmm.
one tools to use that. Because if you use ECS, you're locked. Okay, locking to AWS is not their concern, they want it, but they lose customer that won't install on their instance because
Yeah.
other people do the standard tools.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly they don't have a choice really, but which is a good thing. But otherwise, AWS like to pretend that they are the only ecosystem they have, which is actually very annoying. But it is what it is, and it's not easier, it's not harder. You just switch it. You're just shifting the goalposts really. You just
Mm.
shift the hard part to AWS, and AWS have their own intricacy. Now you have to relearn it. So I won't say cloud is easier. Okay, I won't say cloud is easier, but it's just different, really. You just shift one problem to another. If anything,
Mm-hmm.
off topic, if anything, I like Linux more because I can do a lot more debugging. Which lead to one extra thing. I do not know whether I showed this before. AWS BPF.
What are you share? Are you sharing it
Wait, wait,
or?
wait. I'm finding the tab first. I'm finding
Mhm.
the tab first before I share the thing. Okay, not here. Okay, you know what? Forget it. No, there is. I have two links, but one of it is a PDF, and I messed up my PDF setting. To use Acrobat, I need to change it back because it's very hard to share that one. So AWS actually use eBPF internally now. So I believe that recently eBPF is actually exposed to monitoring API. Uh, yep, AWS started. Okay, I read somewhere that they actually had a AWS API. API that actually do eBPF. So use eBPF. So another standard tools that you're going to use to make life easy.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're going to that direction, but it's not because they like it. Really. I don't think it's because they like it. It's because these tools are there. So they're going to that direction. I still don't like cloud as much as they like people say. Actually, I will use it. It's easy to code, but it's very hard for me to debug. Uh, you have different kind of problem debugging or isolating distributed system, right? System that
Mhm.
relies on network so much. It's a whole other ball game. But otherwise, I kind of like it. So yeah lah. I like Linux more, in short, because I get also debugging tools. It's very cool to you, and it's very powerful. Cloud service tools are not quite there yet. You can't do things like setting up a breakpoint on AWS on a Lambda when you're running live. That you just can't do that, whereas you can do it on a traditional application to do things live when you do need to. So yeah lah. Yeah, I don't remember why I said it. Why the hell I say this again? What topic we're
I'm not
covering
sure.
again? Oh well,
We were
whatever. I don't
talking
care
about
anymore.
AWS.
Tools, yeah, correct. So AWS tools is weird. So in this case, they tend to want to do everything on their own platform. So
Mhm.
yes, I'm going to move. The next one is okay. I did cover quite a lot. Okay, I'm going to cover this one and this one because it's open technology. In a way, okay. Remember that we need to bring up our sensor network. I need to bring it back up. Except this is so damn hard to scrub. So this is actually a project by MIT. So what they do is OCS. Wait, let's not this one. Okay, this open technology. I don't care about this now. There's another technology. Oh no! I shared the long. No, this one. Okay, so I'm going to wait for it to load. Open technology number one. Do you know Llama?
No, no, I haven't used it.
Okay. Do you know llama that is not animal? So the answer is no. You already say that llama is an animal. That I trust you know. So this is actually
Yeah, yeah.
a language model released by Facebook, Meta. Okay, Meta AI team. One of the things that they claim is that it's possible to run the language model on your local machine and get similar performance than on GPT-3. GPT-3 is the previous product by OpenAI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the one that they use to power an enhancement of it is used to power ChatGPT and all that until recently, until GPT-4 is out. It probably still power a lot of the instances because not everyone is on GPT-4 yet. But GPT-3 is also very big, meaning you need a very powerful machine, very fat machine to run this, or even customize it. Which is why if OpenAI can run it as a service. Uh, Llama is a alternative model from Meta AI team.
Mm-hmm.
One of the claim is that you can run the text model on a reasonable size machine. Even though, as of now, according to Han, it's still not very good. It's still not very good. You can't replace ChatGPT yet. But I like this as an idea because people can run this model on things like a Pixel 6, right? Not exactly most powerful machine around, but reasonable size, in a way more reasonable compared to Open uh, GPT-3 or even GPT-4 for that. So yeah, I find this interesting because even though impact-wise probably not so much unless you really care about privacy. But this is interesting because computing works when things are local.
Mm-hmm.
Things get localized. PC change a lot of stuff. Uh, Personal desktop publishing changed the way we do our work, right? Programming
Yeah.
languages. Um, then when we can make our website very easily, that's how business start. Then we forget everything. Now we throw our information to centralized social networks, so to say, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but before that, internet boom because we can do personalized, individualized website. Even though we can host it somewhere, but doesn't matter. It's effectively individualized. So I'm hoping that even though current as of now, I'm going to open a tab that I forget to close. As of now, uh, AI tools, the language model can already do a lot of this thing, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they can they can do like create slides. People already build product for it, understand PDF document. How it works, I do not know yet, but they can already do a lot of stuff. Uh, and this is hosted service, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which means you have to pay for it. Imagine what is possible when you get people to do this without a lot that much of a resource, right? So if you can make it small enough to run it on your own older computer, I'm waiting to see that. This will be interesting to me. And it's not really just about software freedom argument. It's more like sometimes you just need people to hold something personally and you just get things done. It's just what it is. It doesn't always work that way, but for example, 3D printing have their own impact, but not as big as people the internet, but they have their own impact. So it could even be ends up like that. Who knows? But you need to start with this. So yeah, lah, Llama it's available now. In fact, I should actually share you the tools, which again I forget to share. It's called Dalai. Yep.
Mm.
You know why it's called Dalai? Because
Yeah,
Dalai Lama.
Dalai Lama.
Yeah. So this is the front end, which is why it use JavaScript, even though everything is this. Then yeah, it's not as good yet, but but the tools are there. The
Mm-hmm.
tools are the tools are coming, right? Yeah. So that's one happening. Open technology number two. So this is actually open source city scanner. What they scan environment. So this is environment sensor, atmosphere lah, gas and all that. This is designed for you to put on your car, so that when you drive on a car, you can collect this. This is actually how. Okay, so there's two type environment monitoring around. So you got a monitoring station. You see this around your river and all that. Of course, you got plain, expensive, or you can put it on the car. People actually put it on the car. So this is open
Can you
source.
can you
Huh?
can you still go on a car wash with that installed?
I don't know. I don't know.
Might
But
get
this open.
broken, right?
This is open hardware, right?
Yeah,
So
because if
software
it
is
rains
open.
as well, like, is it waterproof?
Yeah, it is. They claim. At least it claim to be. It claim to be. So there
It's
are some
3D
waterproof.
printed though. Oh, you need a proper gasket so that
Yeah,
even
correct,
if you're
correct,
assembling
correct,
it yourself, might be a difficult
correct.
thing.
So and then hardware schematic. So it's open and all that. Sensor board. Can I read this or I need to download? Oh well, it's open source in the way that the specification is open, and they do not use custom hardware. I believe it's something that you can buy off the shelf. Uh, Off the shelf, you can build it. I need to calibrate it. Uh, Interesting for openness reason, and also you don't. They don't. They don't have one size because uh, this thing here is a proposed design, right? To make it easy to put on car. Notice that, for example, this one they just put a type on it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's protect because the hardware is more important. As long as you can make it waterproof, that's fine. So what this design does is that they make it so that this is the hardware design that we use, and this is what is already calibrated on. So so that you don't have to think on everything else. You just pop it on your car or your friend's car together and collect your reading. For example, during your haze season or whatever. So yeah, very interesting technology because it's open and that's about it. So anything to add? If not, I'm
No.
going to move on to the next one. This one I don't understand as much. LLVM libc for GPU. Uh, why LLVM and RPC for GPU? I know you want to use GPU. I know it helps to have RPC for you to get the computing from GPU, but why LLVM? Why only LLVM? This part I don't understand actually.
Mm.
But this is interesting
Maybe because you
because
wanted well, you can use Rust now, I guess, right? Because Rust is
yep,
LLVM. I don't think
correct.
GCC has.
So correct. It also makes sense because with this, then you don't actually care too much about what language you implement this for.
Mhm.
Uh, I do not know. What I do not know is what kind of thing they're exposed to because here, this patch at initial support RPC client, the GPU is unable to perform several system utilities on its own. So in order to implement features like printing and memory allocation, okay, so this is what it means. It need to communicate with the executing process because the GPU
Mm.
on its own do not know how to run program. Program running is actually on the CPU, on the operating system side. So these actually
Mm.
share the information out to shareable memory. Okay, cool. What I do not know here is will this actually allow us to do send computation to the GPU, AMD GPU in this case? If so, then you can actually use this for alternative of CUDA actually, right?
Mhm.
Because AMD have their own thing. It's called Open Compute. They are not adopted as much, but PyTorch support it, for example. Uh, uh, but who does not? TensorFlow does not. They have a patch, but it's not widely used. So I think it's a missed opportunity here, which is so if they manage to make things work that way, probably it's a good thing for the core community. So yeah, lah, interesting stuff. But yeah, then the other part of open technology is PyTorch 2 is out. Uh, this is a major change. Unfortunately, I can't give you a lot of comment because I do not use it as much as I like it. But it does a compilation for the models. Uh, they actually compile to low level. Okay, models is actually a binary file. You need to compile it. So you either do the Python style data structure very slow, or you compile it into a smaller model files. It's a binary form that is optimized to use for GPUs and all that. So I
Mhm.
believe this is the case. For example, your TensorFlow, even though it uses a Python API, it's actually a binary format actually. Then when you compile it, you get your TF lite and all that. Those are binary format. So and you interpret it. So TensorFlow have the interpreter to actually read it, right? Interpret those things so they can use it. Uh, TensorFlow actually comes with the library to interpret that file. So this is the case. This is the same thing actually, which is cool. It means that it's very easy for you to get high performance. Then they use hardware optimization, uh, use different backend. Okay, so Metal performance shaders. These provide GPU accelerated training on Mac platform. So because you got your Mac, a Mac nowadays is very powerful. You can use that as well. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, this is actually then optimization for Graviton. So this is actually so that you run it better on AWS. So quite a few of these are actually for support for specialized hardware. Even though some may argue that the Mac platform are not specialized hardware, which I totally agree. But yeah, so yeah, lah, performance support and all that, which is very cool. And also they duplicate Python 3.7. Yeah. So I want to learn this, but one day, let's see how. Anything to add here? No, I don't understand a lot. Done. Okay, we have 4 minutes. I want to talk about AI stuff that we're going to adopt, probably. Uh, do you think we should adopt one of these things? Number 5, meeting
Mm.
recorder. We should, right?
For like the like transcription.
Yeah. Or we should find because it's possible now. Maybe we should. It's possible now. It's either that we find a service to try out, or we roll our own. I do not sure where roll
But
our code.
it's you can already try it out on past recordings. Everything is recorded anyway. You don't have to do it live. I mean, it's
We
good
don't have to roll
for
our own. I guess.
captions. No, I mean it's good for captions for live. Like
Yeah.
if you can, if like let's say it's a different language and then um,
Uh,
it's automatically translated, right? You can do it
yeah.
live. But if things are recorded and you just need like subtitles, I think it's fine to just do it like after the fact. You don't have to do it in app. So this because this is an AI powered meeting recorder, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it works for us.
Yeah.
Um,
That too. No, I'm not saying that we're going to use this specific tool. I'm thinking that maybe we should adopt one of these kind of tools. That's what I'm trying to say,
hmm
right?
hmm
This kind of tools. Then another one is okay. It's not here, but probably should adopt. Oh, this is horrible name. Base 64 AI. Okay. Focus. Maybe get one of these tools that probably not here to actually generate a summary of our links. Maybe we should adopt that. I'm thinking. Okay, so if you guys know any tools that we should use, tell us. Uh, yes. Isn't that Whisper from OpenAI? Yes. How do I use that? I do not know. Will I pay OpenAI to try it? Probably. At this rate, I might as well just pay OpenAI for all the quota and stuff because it's look interesting. At this rate, what I don't agree with OpenAI is they try to be a monopoly on this kind of tools, which is why I'm very excited over the tools from that you can Alama, which you can run locally. Because even Google, they do their BART project and make it a service. So I think BART as a product have been abandoned for a while. Now they have restarted it back. So either way, yeah, I want another alternative now. Maybe I will pay OpenAI for now until somebody had alternatives for it. So yeah, and also how to use it, how to use Whisper from OpenAI. Not clear. I have no idea yet. I do not know yet. Okay, I don't have a plan
hmm
yet. Uh, but we have 7 days before April, and in between we have multiple public holidays. How many public holidays do we have? Oh no, yeah, public holiday is important because it means that we have hack days. Holiday 2023, Malaysia. April, blah, blah, blah. Support free content, continue with the supporting ads. I'm sorry, you tell me earlier. So we don't have Good Friday, so Saturday, okay, we don't get a lot of holiday. We get one on Sunday lah. We get that
hmm
on Monday. No, we don't get cancel that. We don't get holiday in 8 April, but we do get one in Hari Raya, and that's about it, really. That's about it. Probably for those that don't celebrate, maybe just do a hack day on these few days. So yeah. So that's it. Yeah lah. Maybe we try. Maybe I'm going to take those days to try out Whisper. I don't know how to use it yet. Where I use that. Probably I even
Mm.
make it to transcribe a sound and give it a Scarlett Johansson sound. I call it her, and start referring the machine as her. That's weird, but who knows? Okay lah. With that said, next week I do not know what happening yet. Chances it will be just news commentary. And with that said,
Hmm.
thanks SHH. I think I know who you are. So it's very good interaction. And see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Yeah.